What was that? Seriously, what pitch was that? One goes this way, one goes that way, one goes like that, another's doing this. And batters only have 150 milliseconds to identify the pitch and decide whether to swing. That's half as long as it takes to blink, but it's the difference between this
that ball is way gone.
And this.
Swing and a miss, and breaks his bat.
So, quick question. What is the difference between all these pitches? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pitch School. Let's get into it. There are 4 basic types of pitches, and each has a unique way of challenging a batter. Fastballs use speed. Changeups are all about timing. Breaking balls rely on movement, and knuckleballs, we'll come back to those. First up, good old number 1, the heater, cheddar, gas, the fastball.
This ball completely blown by him.
The goal of the fastball is, it's pretty self-explanatory. A pitcher throws the ball as fast as he can, trying to blow by the batter.
Then he fires another flaming fastball.
The fastball was the original pitch, and it just kept getting faster. The current record is 105 miles per hour. But pitchers threw heat even before the radar gun gave us an accurate number. And they had to get pretty creative in how they measured. By some accounts, Bob Feller hit triple digits in the 1940s. And speed isn't the fastball's only weapon. While they mostly go straight, how you throw it can give it just a little bit of movement. The classic 4-seamer is the straightest and thrown the hardest. Then there's the cutter and the 2-seamer. These guys move horizontally, just in opposite directions, and are known for producing plenty of firewood.
Cutting in and taking apart that bat.
Finally, there's fastballs that drop, the sinker and splitter. The difference is in the grip, but the goal is the same. Ugly swings in the dirt and easy ground ball outs.
Grounder to short, should be a double play, it is.
Even though all these pitches move a few inches in different ways, they're all still fastballs.
He struck him out. Look at Freeman, he smashed his bat in half.
The fastball is the original pitch in baseball, and it remains the best. If you can throw it north of 98, you don't have to worry too much about your other pitches.
Take Nathan Patterson. Nathan went to a Rockies game last year as a fan, but after hitting 96 on the Stadium Speed Challenge, the Oakland A's offered him a contract. Whether it sinks, cuts, or blazes its way through, in 2019, 58% of pitches were fastballs. It's number 1 for a reason. Okay, next up, the yin to fastball's yang, the changeup. Maybe the sneakiest weapon in a pitcher's arsenal.
He kept swinging harder and harder, and Santana just kept taking more and more off.
The goal of the changeup is to throw off a hitter's timing. If they're expecting a 99-mile-per-hour fastball and it comes in at 75, they're going to swing way in front of it.
In the 1850s, Harry Wright came in and delivered a ball that looked like a fastball but came up slow. And this was the change of pace. It preceded the curveball in the many attempts by pitchers to deceive batters.
The greater difference between the speed of your fastball and your changeup, the harder it is to hit. Pedro Martínez was one of the best to ever do it. He could dial his fastball up to 97, then he'd throw his changeup at 77 miles per hour. When a hitter only has half a blink to react, he'd get a lot of whiffs.
Back in the day, I was throwing 98. Now I'm not the power pitcher that I was before. So in 2009, I proved my changeup. It was my best pitch. I put my middle finger in the middle of the 2 seams, and then I throw it as hard as I can. And I was throwing it and throwing it, and then, came out really good. Came out really good. Came out really good. And then start striking out lefty, righty. It was like, this is it. This is my pitch.
He got it! A perfect game by the King, Félix Hernández!
Lots of pitchers have put their spin on the changeup, but no pitch is slower than the ephus. The name comes from the Hebrew word for zero and was invented in the 1940s by Rip Sewell.
Take a look at the height of that pitch.
The goal? A gentle lob. And somehow it works. Time and time again. Next up, the hook. Uncle Charlie. The bender, the hammer, aka the breaking ball.
That curveball is nasty.
A breaking ball is any pitch that primarily relies on movement to deceive the batter, like a curveball. To the batter, a curveball looks like it's going straight. Then at the last microsecond, it drops off the table.
It looks like a strike, but as it travels, the bottom goes out of it.
Let's talk about spin. The seams on a baseball are raised just 0.03 inches off the surface. When a pitcher spins the ball, that seam causes air to gather on one side of the baseball, creating a high-pressure pocket above and a low-pressure pocket below. So the ball drops into the low-pressure pocket, meaning it moves. And the greater the spin, the greater the movement. This seems pretty complicated, but 17-year-old Jim Creighton figured it out when he threw the first breaking pitch all the way back in 1858. Breaking balls have been making hitters look foolish ever since. But the two most common breaking balls thrown today are the curveball, which drops down, and the slider, which drops down and slides across. But with all breaking balls, the key is deception.
You gotta throw it like a fastball, honestly. The more you can throw it like a fastball and get comfortable throwing it like a fastball, you'll be successful because it's all about making the hitter believe it's something that it's not.
Now, there's a whole other branch to the breaking ball family tree, illegal pitches. Remember how the raised seam on the baseball creates movement? Well, doctoring a baseball, rubbing it with a little emery board or putting some pine tar or spit on it, can make the movement of a breaking ball even more extreme. All of these have been illegal since the 1920s. But pitchers can find ways to be sneaky. Finally, the outcast of the pitching world, the literal oddball, the butterfly with hiccups, the knuckleball.
The weirdest pitch in baseball and possibly the most misunderstood.
The reason why it's called a knuckleball is that when you throw it, you see your knuckles up here. When the ball wants to spin backwards out of your hand as you're releasing it, the object is to control the top half of the ball so it comes out without any spin.
Spin. Here we go again. Remember, breaking balls use spin to move in specific ways. But when you take that spin away, it becomes totally unpredictable. Even the pitcher doesn't know where it's going. Or the catcher.
Got him, but it gets away!
A good knuckler on a good day, it's unhittable. But a bad one usually ends up in the seats. The knuckleball has become borderline mythical. No one sets out to become a knuckleballer.
I tell people the knuckleball kind of found me, right? I was drafted in the 8th round by the Pirates as a first baseman. I struggled badly. So in 1989, I was playing catch with another first baseman, throwing knuckleballs back and forth to each other. We're trying to hit each other in the kneecaps. My manager walked behind me and said, "Hey, I didn't know you could do that."
Yeah, pregame catch turned a mediocre first base prospect into a 19-year pitching career. But it gets weirder. The only people who can teach this fickle pitch? Former knuckleballers. Tim Wakefield learned from the great Charlie Huff.
He put his arm around me and said, "Welcome to the fraternity, kid. Ask me whatever you want. I'm here for you. I know what it's like. You feel like you're on an island by yourself, so you've got me on speed dial anytime you need anything." And I was able to pass that torch on to R.A. Dickey.
Sadly, the dark arts of the knuckler are disappearing. Only one knuckleballer threw in the bigs in 2019. But the knuckleball has been pronounced dead before, and always seems to find a way back.
It'll never die. I think it just goes to sleep for a little while, and then somebody else will come back and resurrect it. Don't ever give up on it.
Whew, okay. To recap, you've got your fastballs, speed, changeups, timing, breaking balls, movement, knuckleballs, unpredictability. Why so many pitches? Well, every pitcher has a different arsenal. Combinations of pitches that no one else uses or throws quite like they do. What works for one pitcher is totally different for another. With a million possible combinations of different grips, windups, releases, and spins, pitchers are inventing new pitches all the time. Take a look at this work of art. This is a churve.
That's the churve.
Debuted and named by Joey Lucchese in 2018, he's the only person who can throw it. He made it up himself. It's got the grip of a changeup and the release of a curve. but its movement is all its own. Pitchers and pitches keep evolving. So let's try this again. 150 milliseconds on the clock? What pitch is that? Still can't tell? Just be grateful you're not in the batter's box.